you could have heard this episode 48 hours early on our Patreon, patreon.com/indieheadspodcast. By joining us for as low as $1 a month, you will receive episodes early, gain access to our Discord server, and get yourself an Indie Heads podcast sticker. All of our upcoming episodes will go on our Patreon 48 hours before it hits our public podcast feeds. So if you're hearing this through our Patreon feed, we want to thank you so much for your support. But we especially want to thank all of our Patreon supporters, including Becca Tien, Georgia Mikowski, James Boss, Marcy Anime, Chance Holdup, Delaney Mothman, Josiah Duncan, Jenna L., Matt Cameron, Grant in the Back of My Dragula, John Hayes, T. Christie, Charles, Nicole Rifkin, Tim's Discount Prices, Parker Gross, Andrew Grieve, Jay, Rena K., Ian, Matthew Taylor, I Like Books, Sarah Moore, Griff, Max Kapazinski, Mark Barry, Cal 50, Thanos Snapped Away Half My Donger, Chris Wade, Midwest Maxwell, Jake Wald, Grant, Keep Autism Weird, Rob Marino, Max, Dylan, Zach, Gavin Varney Freak, Maze Farms, Jason Daphnis, Kevin Cookman, Robin Parlow, Eric Chow, Josh, Holiday Kirk, Tyrone Chuhan, Jay Namjadi, Alexis Davin, Cody Gagan, Barely March, Vince LaFleur, Will Griffin, Corbin Camage, Gavlin, Matthew, Ethan Sapir, Kevin Bugar, Matthew McPherson, Randy Donaldson, Eleanor Grahams, Elizabeth King, Wilford Thrill, Gars420, Lily, Jacqueline Kataga, Alec Felder, Talks to Trees, Molly O'Brien, AJ Moser, Eraser Eye Baby, Matthew Herring, Jack Tiggleman, Sarah L., Jeremy Bowl, Alex Grishmanoff, and Derek Pemberton. And if you want to be amongst these names, consider supporting us on Patreon, where if you upgrade to the real one tier, you'll receive a bonus episode every month on top of other perks. Anyways, though, enjoy the episode.
Welcome back to Best New Podcast. It's been a while. And a lot has happened. I forgot we had that.
A lot has happened.
A lot has happened in the world. A lot has happened, particularly in. I've made this joke. I don't know if ever on the podcast, but it's so funny that we did a series on Pitchfork and then we stopped doing it, and then. In the time since we have last done a Best New Pod episode, I wrote for Pitchfork, Matty wrote for Pitchfork, Pitchfork got folded into GQ, and then Pink Balloons got a Pitchfork review, and there's a new Pitchfork editor-in-chief who's now called the editor-in-chief, and a bunch of people lost their jobs. Like, a lot has happened in my relationship to and understanding of and the current existence of Pitchfork. There's a different font now.
Yeah, the font's different.
Oh my god! I was losing my mind over this the other day. I was just like sitting there, I was just,
freaking
like, looking at the
different
website. I was like, "There's
font.
something different here. Is there something different?" And I was like, "Wait a minute, you motherfuckers! You changed it."
We don't like change because change is different.
It's also like so subtly different that like there is a non-zero chance that this caused someone to become like the Unabomber. Like this is the thing that finally caused someone to snap.
Saying.
Like
I do know kind of what you mean. It is weirder, I think, on mobile than it is on desktop. Like
it still looks weird on desktop. It looks slightly off.
Yeah, I think that is just evidence of how wired our brains are, though.
100%. Because we're just weird. We are too obsessed with the site.
At least we are the people getting mad at the score of Magdalena Bay. Folks, we're back. We're back. We're doing it again. We're talking about music nerd shit.
Let's go.
Yes.
Matty, why are we here today?
Okay, so programming note. So here's the thing. Best New Pod, Season 2. You've already seen it on all of our Twitters. It's happening. It is premiering. Season 2 premieres on September 15th on our Patreon, and then 2 days later on all the other podcast platforms. And before we get to Season 2, though, we have some unfinished business, and that includes finishing up our cuts, because we've already done 2010, 2011, and now we're doing 2012. And then also next week, we'll have a bonus episode of my should have been best new tracks, which I will say it's weird that I'm going first. I think I remember being like, I feel like I should go last year because I was the last one to sign on for the series. But I think Rose, you insisted I go first, or at least you're like, no, Matty, you go first on this one, which is good because I get to make you guys talk about Dean Blunt next week 3 times. So I'm very excited about that. But
wait, you Matty, you picked Dean Blunt? Pretend to be
what?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. That's not a shocker. Hell, even me going twice for Dean Blunt is not a shocker. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. No restraint. Three different Dean Blunt projects, actually 4 songs altogether, because I lumped 2 together because they got released as a double single together. So anyways, that's what's next week. But for right now, we're getting into our 2012 cuts, songs that we cut from the 2012 playlist 2 years ago. And it's funny, Rose, you asked earlier in the chat, like, what is our kind of general gist, what's our kind of vibe of this whole playlist? And it's like, 2 years ago, some of the stuff that got best new track back then, we were kind of perplexed by, and it's like, yeah, like, okay, I guess I get it. And now 2 years later, it's just so much more foreign being like, this got best new track, really? Like, there's a couple of these on this playlist where I'm like, really, these songs?
I think the difference between eras will be really highlighted by this episode, because when you remove, like, our selection for bias of what we picked from the first couple episodes leaned toward mostly the stuff that we had stuff to say about, right? Even though that we've talked about how that was kind of, so, like, this stuff is really emblematic of just like what random blogs were covering at this time, which was kind of all over the place. And I think when we jump into the 2013, it is so wild how, in a way that kind of feels like stuff that's happened in the last year or two, where it's just like the first couple of years of a decade, usually it's kind of just like this like spillover detritus of trends that had been going on for the back end of the previous decade. And then all of a sudden you have a year that's like a million about to be generational artists all debuting at the same time. Like, stuff like that starts going on, and stuff that has a lot of resonance for us specifically. Like the series that we're about to start after this one, the unofficial subtitle is, it's a weird coincidence that this period of time that happens to be the end of my high school years is the period of time in which the best music ever released. It's weird how, like, I could have been born at any time in history, but the time I was 17 is when music was the best. I don't know if this is a phenomenon anyone else has ever experienced, but I think that's what a lot of the next couple of episodes is going to be. Is that's going to be like soy facing about good music, and this is different. This is a lot of kind of a couple of head scratchers, a couple of pleasant surprises. Nothing really that I was like deeply offended by, but a couple of real puzzlers here for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't say our second song here that we'll get to is a real puzzler. This is one where I was like, what? Like, we'll get into it. We'll get into it. So let's just jump right in. Let's just jump right in. First song on the playlist. Of course, we talked about this band during I believe during one of our 2010 episodes. Sleigh Bells with their track "Born to Lose" from the record "Reign of Terror." And of course, this is their, I mean, at this point, definitely forgotten follow-up to their iconic debut. Of course, first record, very acclaimed, like still a very fondly remembered record of the era. And this one that came out in 2012, let's see, is it Bitter Rivals? No, Reign of Terror. Not really discussed these days. It's not really, no one really talks about this one, and I wonder why.
I mean, why. Yeah, like that's something I've always kind of wondered. It's just like what specifically failed to stack up that people felt that like Sleigh Bells was no longer a band worth discussing in this era, because it just feels so weird to see like the kind of meteoric rise of like this is the North Star for so much of noise pop and
I totally agree.
Genre spaces of the next like decade, and yet people like after the first album, people are just like, nah, I'm good. You guys have fun.
I think for me, Matty, can you turn it down a little bit, or maybe I'll just turn my headphones down. It's hard to go backward in time with music that's like signature quality, is it being like loud and abrasive and kind of bucking against certain trends in that way. And I simultaneously hear this and be like, wow, this was so ahead of its time, and also like the reason why this popped so much at the time is we didn't have anything that sounded like this, And now it's like you can't shake a stick without hitting a transgender woman that makes music that sounds exactly like this. Like
Yeah.
we lived in a pre-Machine Girl, black dresses, etc. And Sleigh Bells paved the way for that. But the thing is, the people that are into that stuff now don't talk about Sleigh Bells. The people that talk about Sleigh Bells are like older millennial music writers, right? And so it's like there's a disconnect between the people that would be passing down the Sleigh Bells recipes to the new generation and the new generation that likes that music but doesn't get their recommendations from those people. And it's like, I think that they were similar to Death Grips initially, and like, oh, it's kind of this novelty and feels like this collision of genres in a new way, but the songs haven't been held in the same esteem, partly because they didn't have the same like mystique around them, like they were just a band, you know, like
Yeah.
a little more straightforward in that way. But I do think they get referenced, I mean, if not explicitly, like obviously they're super fucking influential, like
Yeah. I still think they're
I
respected.
heard a lot of new
I think
Death
it's
Grips in this actually, like some of the like more arena rocky stuff they started doing later in their career, or like the newer Gorilla Toss records. There's a lot of stuff that sounds
yeah.
like this.
Yeah, like definitely influential, but I do think that influence really it's like people are like, oh, Treats, what a great record, and then like, you know, you got to find like the real
Yeah.
heads for stuff past then, you know. But obviously, like I mean, I'm playing this off Spotify right now, and you know, they still have a pretty healthy monthly listenership, like for a band that hasn't put out a record in 3 years and 354 monthly listeners, like that's nothing to snuff at. That's a pretty like there still are active
Yeah.
fans of this band. If probably mostly from the back catalog, but even then, you know, like compared to some
I
of the other
imagine those are
bands we're about
songs
to go
that have
through.
been I don't know if there's a place to look this up. I imagine those are songs that have been synced a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I have to
This is
imagine
definitely
that.
the era where I think like some of these bands really start picking up shit. Like start the sync checks are really hitting and kicking
Yeah,
in at around this time.
but yeah, like they're with whatever young people are getting into Sleigh Bells, it's like there's this one album and this is the thing and that's probably it. And I think it's when you're this extreme of a band, like part of how a band like Death Grips maintains a long career like that is like half reinventing themselves, half sticking to like a consistent formula. And I don't think it's that Sleigh Bells didn't like experiment, but I think Sleigh Bells felt a little more like a diminishing return. I was never like the biggest head for this band, and I'm sure I know there are people that stick up for like their 2021 record and stuff that they've done, but like I think it's just like when something is this like aggro, if you don't like either this became your favorite thing in the whole world or it's something you liked briefly and moved on to something else.
Yeah. And also, as you were saying, I think a number of artists have like kind of picked up the torch that Sleigh Bells initially lit and kind of have you know sort of taken their sound to sort of new heights and explored things that like they
But
just
like
weren't.
I think something so telling here is looking at, I mean, the fans also like on Spotify for Sleigh Bells. And
Oh
it's
yeah,
none of the bands that sound anything fucking like Sleigh Bells. Like,
no,
this is the thing is that it's
no.
Best Coast, Purity Ring, Santa Gold, Tune Yards, Fantagram, Dum Dum Girls, Neon. None of this
These
stuff
fucking
sounds
chairlifts.
exactly. This is just, it literally is just what hipsters liked at the time being lumped into a genre, which is what indie sleaze is, right? Like we were just talking about this
Yeah.
before the podcast, but it's like
Oh,
using
God.
fashion and general nostalgia trends as like a vehicle by which to lump a lot of very distinct, like there's the dance punk stuff and the blog house stuff and the indie stuff of the 2000s, and all of these things were separate, and the meet me in the bathroom stuff and like the this
I'm
and
at
the
the
that,
fashion party. I'm
and
wearing
people are just
fashion
like, yeah,
clothes.
but if we just wrap our arms around all of that and put it in a suit, marketable term. And that's really what the whole thing is. It's not like an actual sonic movement. Even like the new episode No Tags compares it to shoegaze, and it's like as much as shoegaze has gotten like distorted from its original meaning, it is still a sonic trend that you can clearly identify and like goes back to specific influences, right? Even if they're different influences than previous generations or whatever, it's like people have bands that they name when they talk about these bands, whereas it's like indie sleaze is like the cobra snake is the thing or whatever. Like it's a culture thing, not a music thing.
Mm-hmm. We're looking at the Indie Sleaze playlist on Spotify right now, and I hate looking at him. I hate looking at the Dare. The thing is, I'm not as vocal about my hate because I got that out of my system last year. Like he's clearly gonna. Obviously, I don't think he's gonna be as successful. I think as probably the $1 million advance he probably signed is going to indicate. But still, I mean, this is a guy that he just had a song with Billie Eilish and Charlie XCX. Like he's going places that I think.
I'm not too worried about it
No.
considering
I just think he'd be better off if we called him Mr. the Dare, Mr. the Dare instead of whatever his real name is. I don't know what
It's
his
funny
real
you
name
say that,
is.
Rose, because his job before he became the Dare was he was literally a substitute teacher. That was his job. So he would have been
Mr. the
Mr.
Dare.
the Dare to some kids in New York.
also, Rose, are you aware that he was a Portland emo guy that moved to
Oh
New
yeah,
York?
no, I was aware of his previous band. I knew about that. I knew about
Yeah,
that. I just didn't know about the
turtlenecks.
substitute teacher thing. That being
Um,
said, Mr. the Dare, I just think it'd be much better.
Mm-hmm.
Better band name
I
too.
think we've given him a pretty hard time, and I think it was a pretty nice thing of him to do to give Jay Bigga an executive producer credit on his new single. I think Jay Bigga brought a lot to the production. I think it's cool that he's looking out for artists of a previous generation, and we can move on from there.
Mm-hmm. Oh God. Let's move on. Yeah. So next song on the playlist. Actually, let's see what Pitchfork wrote about this track at the time. I do have the okay, I like instinctually when we were talking about like what is the like who is the audience for Sleigh Bells at this point, and in my head, I'm just like Matthew Perpetua. That is the audience for Sleigh Bells, is Matthew Perpetua. And who wrote
Well,
the
of
best new track?
course.
And who wrote the best new track review? It's Matthew Perpetua. If you just want Sleigh Bells to do their Sleigh Bells thing very well, it's hard to be let down by Born to Lose, the first track release from their forthcoming second album, Reign of Terror. The novelty factor may be diminished this time around, but their distinct formula for rocking, simple heavy riffs, alternately cooed and shouted female vocals, and speaker rattling crunk beats remains powerful and fresh. We're not going to get into that. Again, there are things I'm reading and my
I
brain is
do
going
love a
places.
funky fresh beat. I do love a funky fresh beat.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Born to Lose isn't quite as in the red as anything from Treats, and Alexis Krauss's vocals have moved just a step further into the ethereal shoegazer territory. The emphasis here is on Derek Miller's guitar riff, the beauty of which is in how totally unashamed he is to milk it for all it's worth, as well as a complementary drum machine pattern that sounds like a machine gun fire in a video game. Every part of the song is as simple as it gets, but Born to Lose reaches a mix of aggressive physicality and detached coolness. It becomes obvious that this perfect balance of bluntness and tunefulness doesn't come easy. So there we go.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
boy.
makes a lot of sense that Sleigh Bells happened at this time in a sense that like it is so reactionary to the sound of what quote unquote indie rock music was at the time, and that's the crowd that lifted this up more so than like the people that like loud electronic music that was happening concurrently to this that sounded more like this. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
Yeah,
those things were more distinct at the time, and I think that what not to just keep talking about the Dare, right? But like the indie sleaze movement broadly and why people try to capitalize on it is as a reactionary counterbalance to what the broad indie culture of the late 2010s was, which was like the rise of the Mitski, Phoebe, like sensitive, vulnerable thing
yeah.
being the
I mean, that's something I
currency.
want to get into right now, which is like I think you're talking about like it's kind of a reactionary thing, is that it's reacting to like some sort of quietness within the space when I think in reality like there's a second loudness war happening, which is like the people will generally want louder songs versus like we go into eras
Yeah.
when like indie rock and indie pop and stuff like that are like all in on like loud and noisy textures, and then we have the periods where it's like all reserved again. I think we're swinging
Yeah.
back towards another loud era.
The thing that makes the
Yeah.
indie sleaze stuff weird is that because it's so cultural, it's also wrapped up in like it's not just reactionary to music trends. It's also like people that have been reading too many articles about how Gen Z doesn't like to have sex, being like, I'm gonna make some music about sex, and it's like, dude, put your dick away. Anyways,
but what if I want to make music about sex?
I want there to be music about sex. We all know this. I'm very on the record about this. Just not,
don't be a
not
fucking
like this.
geek.
Not like this.
And also, I will also take music by sex, aka the artist formerly known as Young Thug.
Yes, who
like
we
I
will be
said-
getting to at some point on this series.
I'm
Not there
excited to
yet.
talk about sex. Okay, let's get that on the record. I really want to talk about sex.
Oh God. Well, a song that I would say is the opposite of sex.
Yeah, a very
our next
unsexy song.
Our next song, Black Dice with the song Pigs. And it's been a little bit since I listened to this playlist. I listened to it for the first time in a while yesterday, doing some preparation.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. And I heard this and I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is this?
Hard to make heads or tails.
I said before the episode that like the influence of Animal Collective breathes through on this playlist, and I
That's
just
so
having
funny.
Black Dice on here is the most direct shot at that. It's very funny just seeing like the more irresponsible and annoying half of the New York noise scene Animal Collective kind of came up out of, just welling in here and making this gross, awful music that I really love. It's a fun time. I gotta say, I love Black Dice. I like the song. It's horrible. I love it.
Yeah, Black Dice is definitely like a member them kind of band, because they are a band that I mean, I feel like you kind of mentioned Animal Collective. Obviously, initially it was the other way around, where Black Dice were kind of the first ones to kind of like give Animal Collective kind of a boost, because they had been around for at least a little bit longer. And like, was it like the Baltimore scene really? But obviously Animal Collective completely eclipsed them in popularity, and sinking ships or rising, I don't know the metaphor about rising tides and all that shit, but essentially, it's like, hey, you put us on, we'll put you back on, and kind of make sure you're still on the radar of all, the people that put us on, the pitchforks and the like. That being said, so a thing I think we're going to start doing, at least that I want to start doing when we get into into season 2 of Best New Pod, is I really do want to have a question, like an end of episode discussion of like, what is the best new track and what is the worst new track of every episode. This would pretty easily be my worst best new track of this episode. I cannot make heads or tails of this. It is just like this weird gurgling kind of I can't even call it a noise song. It's just like it reminds me of Macula Dog. Like, that's the first reference point that I'm thinking of, is that fucking awful Macula Dog record.
It kind of have some Macula Dog vibes. I'm not gonna lie. I did not like this. I did not hate this. I think that this was a fascinating exercise in that you bringing up Animal Collective was so funny, because I have the same thought, but my thought was, and we've talked about this previously talked about Animal Collective, I don't dislike 60s pop influence. Like, going back to last week's episode, I would not say the Beach Boys have made the worst songs of all time. I'm not a Beach Boys head. I'm very, like, agnostic on it. And I like weird, noisy bullshit generally. But for whatever reason, the way Animal Collective try to fit those two things together seems like a more psychedelic take on a thing I'm not quite that into might be up my alley. And it's just so not, for whatever weird reason. And hearing this, which is basically like Animal Collective, but if no one knew anything about pop music, I'm kind of into it. I'm more into it than regular Animal Collective. Like, if you just, it's not that I hate the Beach Boys, but it's like, stop trying to do those two things at once that aren't tastes that go together well. And just give me some bonkers
I'd
Macula
like
Dog
to
shit.
quote the work of an esteemed poet. His name was Rivers Cuomo, I believe. Turn it up. It's the Beach Boys, making my eyes get moist. That's it. Thank you.
I will not. I was not like, oh, I want to check out more Black Dice after this. I want to listen to this song again. To be clear, however, it was like, for something that is actively trying to be something that's pissing me off, I'm not having the worst time with this.
I mean,
I think that's the best you can hope for from this kind of music.
That's what I enjoy about it most specifically, is the confrontational little shit attitude that comes with it. Like, that's something that Black Dice have that I think Animal Collective could never really have, is to be actively antagonistic to their listeners in that way.
No, and I think the times where they kind of have been that has been almost by accident. It's kind of
Yeah, no,
funny. Like Pole Hair Rabbi. That's one
Yeah.
where that is accidentally antagonistic by just like, hey critics, I made this collab album with my wife, and we made this record, and then we decided to just make it all backwards. We reversed all the tracks, and that's the album now.
Yeah, no, it's they're so hard to hate, even for me, someone that does pretty actively hate a lot of their music, because it never feels like it's like this is self-consciously weird. It feels like a very like I just listened to the first episode of Blank Check's David Lynch series, and they really
Oh yeah,
zero
sorry,
in on how
shit.
the great thing about David Lynch is just that like he's like, what are you guys talking about? I'm normal. And that's really the
He
Animal Collective
lost his
vibe.
keys, okay? Like, why are we getting all up in arms about David Lynch? He just lost his keys.
Animal Collective is the same thing where it's like, we just reversed the tracks because we thought it was neat. It's not like they were like pretentiously trying to do it's like it always comes from a very pure place and from their heart. It's just
Mm-hmm.
I cannot sanction what they've decided to do with that, but I defend their right to do it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
Uh
God so help you.
Yeah, so let's see what Pitchfork had to say about this track. The comfort in knowing Black Dice are still out there pulverizing the crap out of their instruments is matched by the discomfort their music can generate. I mean, true. I was very uncomfortable listening to this song. It's been a while since we've heard from them. It's been a while. 2009's Repo was their last full length, but the passing years haven't mellowed out the Brooklyn trio. Pigs, from their upcoming full length, Mr. Impossible, coheres in a way that some of their tracks don't, while still sounding like a group of lunatics let loose without supervision. An indecipherable vocal spews forth, reminiscent of Gibby Haynes' maniacal jibber jabber on Ministry's Jesus Built My Hot Rod, while great clots of muddy bass emit a pus like squelch. um that's a very accurate way to put it. Like I definitely do hear like the Gibby Haynes butthole surfers of it all. But Jesus Built My Hot Rod, rocks, and at the end of the day remembers to be a rocking, a fucking a scorching rocker. And this is just sort of like what if we recorded one of our band members burping and then we just made that a song. um but good for you. Everything on Pigs is drawn from a primitive impulses. The beat even sounds like a caveman banging on a rock with a bone, providing the song with its unrefined outline. That sense of ugly delirium present in all the best Black Dice tracks is gleefully intact here. It's like breathing in a great blast of noxious air, causing you to momentarily lose your place in the world. um yeah, there we go. I think that makes a lot of sense. um it is, yeah, but they're an interesting band that like they have been kind of forgotten by time. Like I mean, we're looking at the monthly listeners, like they only have 4,000 monthly listeners, but yeah, this band is definitely like a really influential one on the scene overall. Like I do not think you have a whole lot of like the 2000s indie boom stuff without Black Dice kind of like helping pave the way for some of it. But and it's not like they're not like they're still an active band. They put out a record back in 2021, but you know time has a funny way of working
Yeah, you
sometimes.
don't hear them referenced even in the way that like I feel like Lightning Bolt and Wolf Eyes and other bands that are kind of like in this universe get mentioned more, and then like
Hmm.
Liars and Hella have sort of had post lives because they like Hella obviously just lives on more because of Death Grips existing, but like
Hmm.
those other bands have had more of a present like current life, whereas this one sort of faded into the background. But I also think this one feels very 2000s in a way those other bands I just mentioned don't. Like
Yeah.
Hella does feel very 2000s, but also like it manages to transform into something very 2010s in the form of Death Grips, so it doesn't feel quite as stuck in time as the way Black Dice just really feels like talking to a guy who is 35 now, like
Yeah. Well, unless we had any more thoughts, then we can probably go into our next track here. From Zammuto, it's FU C-3PO. And Zammuto, let's see, based on the Spotify, because I had no fucking idea who this
I had to look
is.
this up. It's the guy from the books.
Yes.
So the books
that answers a lot of my questions, actually.
Yes, I did too. So the books is a duo. Zammuto is the last name of one of the two guys in the books. I think according to this, it was a solo project that just eventually became its own band.
Yeah, I will say, I really like this one. I was not expecting how much I enjoyed this particular tune. It develops in a way that's quite fun.
Yeah, I thought this was cool. It kind of reminds me of that 10 Point Never record that he did with Joel Ford, Daniel Lopatin. That in the way it's like actually doing really wonky, weird shit with like some of these 80s. It's like this is the haunted brother of like a Kraftwerk night drive or whatever, you know? So it's got that same like kind of vocoder talkbox synth vibe, but then like doing it in a very weird off-kilter way, not doing it in a very straightforward way. It's cool. I like this. I mean, my first reaction was who the fuck, what the fuck. And I was like, oh, the books. Yeah, that's a critically acclaimed of this era. That makes sense. Yeah, like this being the new project of a guy that was in a very critically acclaimed thing. Like, yeah, of course they're gonna give this best new track. It's cool. I think this is not a bad choice at all. Yeah, I don't have a ton to say about it, but I think it was like pretty neat. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's some pretty cool ideas on this track. Like, I do like the vocals. I really like the percussion here is really, like very kind of very African style drumming. Like I like this is something where if you stripped away more of the pop music influences of like Talking Heads or Man in Light, I do think like there's some similarities there, you know. Also, I feel like listening to this track, it kind of, I was weirdly making some comparisons, and it's probably just because I was listening to this record today, the new Body Meat album that came out that just got Best New Album from Pitchfork. I do feel like that's sort of a 2020s version of like what this is going for, of sort of like kind of putting together sort of trends of the past and present and future into kind of this one little thing that doesn't always congeal together, but it is full of really cool ideas that is at the very least like worth giving a shot.
And I also think that as far as a lot of like very conceptual, arty, like this kind of things, it's good that it's only 3.5 minutes, because then otherwise it's divergences and it's trails it goes down. It doesn't really tire you out so much. So even if not all of it really sticks to me, like it was pleasant enough, which is a good transition to our next song, which my least favorite song of the week is our next song.
Yeah.
Easily.
But before we get to then, Rose, did you have any thoughts on this track other than what you said?
No, I mean it's pleasant again. Like I yet another song that really reminds me of Animal Collective, kind of. But like now that I know it's the books, like a contemporary, another like very contemporary kind of psychedelia take. I definitely hear a lot more like of further back DNA in a way. I particularly just like the little leaps that they do on the chorus riff. Like it's nice melodic work in a way that I appreciate compared to the next song of this week, where yet another band I think I struggle a lot with.
Rose, you're not alone. You're not alone.
Spiritualized is a band that by all accounts I should really enjoy, but just like he does the Spiritualized thing on every song, and I'm just like, well, that's cool. Have you got anything else? I'm like, no, I'm just doing the Spiritualized thing again, mate.
I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, JL is going to be mad at me about this, but ladies and gentlemen, we are snoozing in space. This band is so fucking boring, dog.
I like the first couple songs.
The thing about this band is that their whole concept is like, what if you take a song that's okay and stretch it into a song that's like interminable? It's like, I like post rock, but like, buddy, this is like post rock. If like a post rock was like a bad Oasis song that they've been stretched so long that like by the end of it you're like, did I even ever like rock music? I don't know. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Who can say?
He's been like the thing about Mr. Spiritualized, as a former member, Spaceman 3, like I get it. He is one of those guys of a certain generation who, like, you know, heard the early 60s and 70s psychedelic rock records and like heard, you know, the Wall of Sound stuff and is like so monumentally spiritually impacted by it that he feels a compulsion to like try and recreate that in his own way, to like spin there. It's all day doing like 50 overdubs on like 8 minutes of music. And it's like, buddy, you're pouring your little heart into this, and that's great and all. But like the song isn't that good. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
like the only reason the Beatles got away with "Hey Jude" was because like they had the best fucking chords I've ever heard, and this is just like, like again, it's just like it's going for that kind of like breathless sprint, you know. Like I can name, you know, like fucking. Hero by Noi is a song I love that like similarly does this kind of like out of breath guitar chug for like 6 straight minutes, and you're just like, oh my god, this is the coolest shit ever, you know. Like when the riffs start pummeling and the fucking opening credits to Demon Lover with that song, you're like, this is the coolest shit on the planet. Like this, like, but I just don't like his guitar tones either. That's the other thing. It's just like Mr. Spiritualized. He just He cannot
like you
find
talking
a good
about
tone.
the 50 overdubs and like doing all that shit. It's like, it reminds me of the famous thing Laurence Olivier said to Desmond Hoffman, where he's like, "My dear boy, why don't you just try acting?"
Yeah.
It's like just try writing a good song. Like start there, and then focus on how you make it sound like a million guitars at once. Like
that's what's frustrated me all these years. It's just like the breathless hype for this band, even as, you know, they've continued releasing stuff into late period. Like it's cool that a guy can make a music this detailed. It's just like, I wish there were better songs attached to it. That's like all I'm asking is like a melody that I can like run back in my head and be like, yeah, dude, that's a good one. Like that's why I like fucking We're Floating in Space the most, is because like the first 3 songs on that have really good melodies that I can remember. Like I really like fucking Come Together, because that one's just like, yeah, come on, come together. Like you don't need much in the lyrics, but like you can go ba 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 ba. You know, like there's a melody there that you
I think
to.
2 bands that I can compare this to that are neither like bands I love but are bands I like more, and explain why I don't like this. Like Cloud Nothings are never a band that I've loved, but the reason why they're like pummeling long songs work is because they are propulsive, right? Like they have like a real energy to them that carries you through them, and like good drumming and stuff like that. And then like on the other side, you have like something like the White Stripes, which I sometimes, it's easy to write off as being like a little boring, a little like rote. But when you listen to the songs, it's like, well, these riffs are really good riffs. Like as much as you want to clown on Jack White for not being that creative or whatever, it's like he can write a good riff, you know? And this is like, buddy, you can't write a good riff. This is too long. This is too much. It's not going anywhere. And it's also not like propelling me physically in a way that carries me through it. I DNF'd this song. I'm going to be honest. Like I was just like, enough, brother. Like, I love post-rock, I do not like jam band, and this is not jam band, but this falls on the bad side of my songs that are long continuum.
Yeah, this is a song that would be a solid enough 2.5 minute little ditty. Like the song should end right here. Like as we're speaking, like, all right, great, song's over, fine, probably a minute longer than it needed to be, but whatever. And it's going to keep going for some reason. I've also never gotten to Spiritualized, but not because I've tried. Like I've never tried. Like I've never listened to a Spiritualized record. I've just never felt a strong desire to listen to them. Like even though like my job was working their record in 2022, like even then I'm like, no, I just feel like it's not going to be for me. And now that I've listened to this track in particular, this is not like, oh, this is like late period stuff. People is not as acclaimed. Like no, this is from an acclaimed record. Like this got best new album. You know, the one this is on. You know, even I'm like, nothing I'm hearing here that makes me want to explore like any further. And very sorry to our boy Larry Fitzmaurice. Very sorry, but yeah, this kind of feels like Schreiber had a gun pointed to your head.
Something very cool that Miri Tyler, drummer of Echo Astral, tweeted about drumming the other day was about how in the way that they're infinites inside of finite numbers, like infinite decimals, the distance between 1 and 2 and counting is an infinite space of time, and a good repetitive groove feels like it has that infinity inside of it. Like the space between the grooves is such that you feel like you can just exist in that forever. A bad repetitive groove just feels like there is none of that space in it, and you just have to trudge through these hits that go over and over and over again, and it's just like, buddy, what are we doing? Versus like a good dance track can just be the same drums over and over again, and you're like, I could live here forever, you know? And like, this is just like, plodding is the word I came back to over and over again. It's like just hitting for the sake of hitting.
Yeah. Let's read what Larry had to say on this track. Spiritualized last album, 2008's Songs in A&E, was relatively subdued as the project's godhead, Jason Pierce, ruminated on sickness and redemption on songs that rarely broke the 4-minute mark. It was a terrific record, but anyone who's ever had their brain blown out by all 17 minutes of Cop Shoot Cop knows that Pierce does epic with aplomb. So a glance at the 8:55 running time of Hey Jane, our first taste of Spiritualized's forthcoming album, Sweetheart, Sweet Light, is enough indicator that you're in for a trip. And sure enough, this thing goes. Hey Jane, a crunchy, sugary funhouse of a tune, complete with a switch up midway through that flips the song's melody upside down, throwing in some woodwinds at the end, because for this band, more is more. And, he is right that for this band, more is more, but, have you tried less? Tried less? Or, quality over quantity, Just
I have tried this band a bunch because, unlike you, Matty, like I think space rock might be the largest differential between how much it sounds like I would like it based on the name of the genre and how much I actually like most things that get called space rock. Yeah. Like if this was better, it'd probably get called dream pop or post or like post rock. It's like it sucks, and that's why it's being called space rock.
Yeah.
Like I see like shoegaze tagged to this band sometimes. I'm just like, brother, what are you hearing? Because even if there's like some fuzziness to the guitar tone and wall of soundness, like it just sounds like poo. It just sounds like poo to me. I don't like it.
Yeah, I will say the thing for most of the songs on this playlist, the connecting tissue for everything, for me is that so much, up until really the last 3 tracks of this playlist, even the stuff that I like in this first part of the playlist, I'm just like, all these sound so flat. Like Sleigh Bells, that the track we heard from them, it's clearly not as good as anything off that first record, because for some reason they're like, okay, we're gonna like make it a little less loud, we're gonna kind of like flatten out some of the edges, or the rough edges, but like the rough edges were the appeal. Black Dice, it feels like it's like this could be a pretty incredible, like, kind of noisy trap, and for some reason, like, it just has a sort of like flat feeling. FU-C-3PO, as surprising as it is, it's a solid track, but it's like I feel like there could be some more, like, there's a little more oomph in the mix that it's missing, and this is one where it's like, where, like, if you're using like 50 guitar overdubs, it doesn't sound like it. This sounds flat as fuck. And then obviously, like, some of these, like the DIIV track we'll get into next, for me, like, obviously this stuff is very well acclaimed and people really do love these early DIIV records, but like for like you and me, Jackie, like it doesn't really, like, this band doesn't really fully come into their own until like that 2019 record where it's like, okay.
I'm not fully going to agree with you there, Matty. I'm afraid not. Hey. But we'll get into that in a second. We're about to get to some. I am about to get some good fucking food finally in just a second.
I'm starving here. I'm starving.
Which, by the way, I don't think I ever said the name of the song.
Technically, since we're not in season 2 yet, I'm only having a good time mode, so I can still be a little mean.
Yeah, I mean, season 2 is loads of good. There's literal good times in season 2, but also like just lots of good times. But let's get to our next song.
Well, I know there's gonna be.
I know there's gonna be good times. Which, oh god, well, I don't want to get into it because someone in our Discord like posted some shit about that song, and I'm like, look, I'm a young fuck here. We can't get into it.
I heard like 30 seconds of that new Jamie XX song. What the fuck is going on with that dude these days? Like, I haven't been listening to I don't listen to his music, but it's just like I don't remember his song sounding like that.
He's not beating the the less problematic Diplo allegations. Is all I will say.
Oh boy. Well, let's get into our next song from DIIV. It is "How Long Have You Known." I should clarify what I was saying earlier. This is a good song. I do like the song, but I do think like this is a band where
I know exactly what you mean though, Matty. I have the same thing when I go back to this record. Like the way this record, I think the thing with me that made me love these songs in a new way was the live record. I think I've shouted it out on this podcast, but they put out a live record 2 years ago now, live at the Murmur Theater. That was, I think, for the anniversary of Ocean, this first record. And they do 2 covers, one of When You Sleep by My Bloody Valentine and one of Hollow by Alex G, which is just like Jackie bait, like literally like that's like putting a Wile E. Coyote, like drawing a paint on the wall, like run toward it. Like this is catnip for me is my preface to this, but I love that live record. And part of it is just hearing the original era DIIV songs recorded with really nice warm mixing. Like this is incredible for a live recording in terms of the audio quality. And like I love pretty much every one of those old songs in that live album, even though only a couple of them ever really clicked for me before. And I think that is the way that this record is mixed. It just sounds so much like what was the style of the time, which is this very Wild Nothings-y guitar tone that's like really distant, really like Youth Lagoon, all that stuff that's like very washed out, very reverby. And I like the guitar tone in the song, but I there is that kind of like flat wideness, you know? It's like it's very widescreen and dreamy, but it also is intentionally giving like this thinness that is supposed to add to the appeal. And for the most part, that Ocean record is like kind of more feels like them rough drafting what they will do later. But when you listen to this song, it reminds me that like they have always been at a songwriting level that is just above every other band that sounds like this tonally. Like Wild Nothing is a band that is really good at doing that pastiche, and that pastiche is like harder than a band like Wild Nothing makes it look, right? Like it's easy to dismiss something as being like, oh, this is just chill indie rock, but it's harder than it looks to make a song that effectively manages to do that, right? The thing that's amazing about DIIV, and the thing that only tends to like separate like wheat from the chaff over time, is that like they had real songwriting chops in addition to being able to effectively nail this sound at the time that this sound was really popular, and nail the shoegaze sound at the time the shoegaze sound was about to crest again. But like they're not just craftsmen and technicians, they can write a real song, and I think this song rules so much. It reminds me a lot of the War on Drugs, actually, more than any other DIIV song. Like this feels like an earlier War on Drugs song in the way that it kind of like builds over like very deeper understanding kind of, or like even going back to what's called Lost in the Dream, sort of, you know, like the way that the chords just kind of ring out. I don't know, it's really pretty. I was driving to this earlier today. I was having a great fucking time. This is a good song. I love it. DIIV.
Okay,
they're good.
First things first, my main take about this song, after a lot of consideration, I think this band would be like 10 times more popular if they called themselves DIIV instead of DIIV. If it were pronounced DIIV.
How would you spell that? DEEV?
It's the exact same as it is now, just DIIV instead of DIIV.
Now again, it's very similar to the pronunciation of DG, and now I'm imagining a supergroup of DG and DIIV, and it's DV. That they should DG, if you're listening to this episode for some reason, even though Grant didn't tell you to specifically listen to this one, you should hit up the DIIV boys and start a new band, DV. Moodtown can produce you guys.
And then if you get sued by Devo, you can just say, well, let's just join a supergroup. It's a supergroup. Everyone's allowed. There's no rules now.
Mm-hmm.
I think,
anyway, I don't like the song. This is the very specific problem I have with like 2010 shoegaze, where I'm just like, everyone's all watery and drifty. I'm like, you guys aren't loud enough. Could you be a little louder? Could you be a little meaner?
As we are about to get into on the next song, I hear watery and drifty, and I go, woo. Woo! Yeah, I'm a
see,
Peace
my
Stripper,
ass. I
baby.
want to hear a nasty little guitar riff. I want to cackle and go, oh, this is my fun little time I'm having.
I would never dare use the word nasty to describe the lick on this song, but it's a tasty lick. I really like the
I just
little.
think it's really funny to use nasty specifically in this situation.
It is really funny to imagine someone being like, "Yo, this band DIIV. They shred so fucking hard, dude."
Oh my
Like,
god, they're just they're sick, disgusting. You're never gonna believe these riffs.
I think that dive I think it's just like in general, I think that there is a tendency to discount things that happen to be on trend at a particular moment that then sometimes over time well always is like the great example, right? Of this band that like I think somewhat understandably got like not fully taken seriously at the beginning just because it's like there's a lot of stuff that sounded kind of like it, but it took some time to realize, like, okay, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that kind of sounded like Always, but there are not a lot of bands that have multiple, like, Marry Me Archie level songs that
Yeah,
actually,
no,
like,
that
stick in the consciousness
it's
and
about the
have.
pedigree.
Exactly, yeah, and even though not everyone agrees with this, I think DIIV are always for boys, and for me also. Like DIIV are. I think they are Gen Z Yola Tango. Like I think they truly have never put out bad music,
Okay,
and they
that
just keep.
answers my question for why I fucking hate this band.
I think they are just a band that is easy to be like, oh yeah, they're just kind of it's just pretty and it's just very tasteful and they just kind of do their thing. But like every single dive record is a grower. Like every single dive record, I'm like this year I'm doing it again, right? I'm gonna put the dive record like 24th on my album of the year list. And then 4 years from now, this is gonna be the only record I'm still listening to this year. Like every time I do it, where like I slightly underrate how good they are at just doing this thing. And then like 3 years later, I'm like, wait, is Deceiver the best album just like ever? I think this band is really great. I think they keep getting better. I really liked their appearance on Yasi Salek's interview podcast. They tell a story about when they were on tour, the way that they would find weed in other countries is that they would just go on Twitter and look for the hashtags of like Melbourne and then 420 or like whatever the city is, then 420, and they'd find someone just like posting pictures of his bong and be like, "Hey, do you want passes to the festival we're playing today?" And they'd get weed from people that way, and that's just really smart.
That's just smart.
That's ingenuity.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to the DIIV boys. They seem like
Yeah.
nice people.
It's God. I for some reason I feel like I should have I knew this already, but like I just forgot that they were literally called DIIV initially, like DIVE, and I assume someone was gonna like, hey, we're gonna sue you if you don't change your band name, so they switched to the DIIV. So from Ian Cohen, this is an Ian Cohen Best New Track review. DIIV's bleary, guitar-driven pop has plenty of comforting surface appeal, but How Long Have You Known is the first time that the Brooklyn band separates itself from the reverb-soaked, borough-specific pack. They managed to find the commonalities between dream pop's pure aesthetic appeal and krautrock's concision, understanding that an ear-turning riff can make a 3-minute song every bit as engrossing as one that's twice as long, while singer Zachary Cole Smith foregrounds the title melody amidst an arrangement that's more of a full-body gust than a breeze. So How Long Have You Known becomes DIIV's first great song because Smith negotiates the difficult task of standing out within a sonic template that sublimates individuality by definition. So there we go. Thank you, Ian Cohen. I didn't much say. It's a good track. Let's move on to our next one. This is a band that honestly, like, they were a very acclaimed indie band of their time. Just for some reason, I thought, oh, Pitchfork was never really that hot on them, but I guess I'm wrong because our next song is from the Antlers with the track Drift Dive. Going from dive to another dive.
This was my like huge surprise of the week because the Antlers for me were solely like communicated to me through the legacy of Hospice specifically.
Yes.
So I just assumed that like every Antlers song was about like being so sad that you want to kill yourself or whatever, like just being like the most depressing thing you've ever heard. And I had no real like understanding of like what they represent musically per se, besides like And I really liked this. This makes me want to like actually get into the Antlers. I thought this was very, very pleasant and just really nice and warm and situated in like a nice spot between like a kind of slowcore and more of like a chamber pop sort of sound, you know? It's got a little bit of like that like brightness to it, but then also it's got this kind of slow meandering like waltz tempo. And it does what it says on the can. It's called Drift Dive, and it's the song. It sounds like this. You're hearing it now. It sounds like Drift Dive. I really like the little slide guitar. It reminded me of SpongeBob briefly. Undersea, great little connection there.
I mean, they're again apparently they're using Hawaiian pedal steel, so that actually makes a lot of sense. I wish I could feel the same way. I was kind of left kind of like on this track, but I think this is kind of, you know, in that sort of vaguely maybe twee is not the right word to use, but this kind of like sort of slower, dreary indie rock like that.
Yeah.
Of course, whenever I was first getting into indie music, like this, you know, Hospice was still a very acclaimed record. I remember trying to listen to that album, being like, I don't get it. Like, this is not clicking. Maybe now that I'm, you know, a little more experienced, maybe that record would click more. But, you know, I'm listening to this and I'm like, yeah, I get the appeal, but it's just kind of not doing a whole lot for me, you know?
It kind of reminds me maybe of like the newer Youth Lagoon stuff or something like that. Like, kind of more of a like, not quite crooner vibe, but like this sort of, like orchestral, very pretty, very slow. I found the groove of it very nice, you know? Yeah.
So the Ian Cohen Best New Track review, it's becoming clear that Rolled Together wasn't just a centerpiece of the Antlers' brooding burst apart, it was the turning point for their artistic trajectory. The gorgeous, nearly wordless bit of Sigur Rós-inspired swooning provided an exit strategy for a band that was running on self-immolation. And the Sigur Rós, like, that is I immediately hear that in this song. And that's maybe why I don't really like it, because I could never really get into Sigur Rós. After Hospice and Burst Apart, how much more emotional trauma could frontman Pete Silberman endure, really? Drift Dive leads off Antlers' new Undersea EP as an indication that they're all in a much better place. Silberman's pillowy falsetto, Hawaiian pedal steel, and brass all sways with a languid, breeze-blown rhythm captured in humid production. Silberman's sparse words barely register here, and that's a promising thing for Antlers, as Drift Dive proves that they can be as demonstrative and gripping on a pure sonic level as they are lyrically. And now that makes sense. That lines up pretty well. Although I do hear this, and I'm also like kind of reminded, because I did hear a little bit of the late period Spiritualized stuff because my job was working it, and this does kind of remind me of that kind of like the space rock kind of vibes, but obviously not the sort of way
this
that
is like what I want space rock to sound like. Yes. More than what Spiritualized sounds like a lot of the time. You know, this is more in the like Mojave 3 school of like taking sort of country tunes and reflecting them through a very dream pop twee aesthetic, you know?
Yeah.
And I obviously like it's not as good as Mojave 3 because they're not like slow dive, but I think it's pretty great.
Yeah, This is very much like of a strain contemporary to like there's like a particular subset of aughts, mid-aughts, late-aughts indie folk and indie rock that really gets like kind of, you know, lumped around. Like earlier this year, the Antlers were doing a tour with a band that I think about a lot from this era called Okkervil River, who were like another like pretty decently, they were like the third string of Pitchfork buzz band, like similar to Antlers, where I feel like they've kind of largely been forgotten, but there's like this very particular strain of aughts folk rock that the Antlers fit really nicely into. And like it's surprising, I've always been surprised like how much of a kind of second act they've had just quietly, you know, humming along since Hospice, because I've never really thought of their career much outside of the context of that record.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have much more to say.
Yeah, it's a pleasant little tune. I don't really this is one that just like I had no thoughts whatsoever. It's fine. And then the next one is like a really good song from one of my least favorite people on the earth who like year by year, month by month gets somehow even more unbearable to deal with. And yet I still can't deny the riffs kind of go sometime. Like I literally like
this was a
earlier this
really
year,
good.
like
Yeah.
earlier this year, I was like actively bitching about her, and meanwhile, at the same time, I was like thinking about the riff on this song specifically. I was like, God, the song kind of rules, dude.
Remember what they took from you, you know? But this is
Fucking
also like
Krokodil, man. Like, why did Saint Vincent stop writing songs like Krokodil? Like, I might be able to tolerate this bullshit like 10% more if she was writing songs like Krokodil.
I think that for me, this was just a good reminder that, like, if I had been into the music that I'm more into now, at the time St. Vincent was actually good at making this kind of music, I would have bought into the hype too. Like, as someone that was never, like, that St. Vincent pilled, it's just that, like, my interest in the kind of stuff she was good at was not quite overlapped with the period of which she was making that music, right? So I got around to it later, but by the time I was getting around to the good parts of her discography, she was already falling off, and so it's easy for me to be like, ha ha, you guys bought into this, ha ha, I didn't, whatever. But like, I would have ate this up with a spoon if I was a music writer in 2012. Like, this is so sick. This is very cool. I really like it. I like how fast it is compared to, like, a lot of St. Vincent stuff now is so plodding, and like, this is just fun and energetic, and the tone. I think that's the thing I'm always so impressed by with the early St. Vincent stuff. It's just the guitar tones are so fucking unique. Like, what else sounds like this? Not very much.
Again, it's just what happened here? What fucking happened? I still don't have a definitive answer to like what caused the Annie Clark problem, but there's a problem here.
It's simultaneously like, look at what we've lost, but also it's like, society has progressed past the need. We don't need her to do this. We can just do this on our own. Like, there songs on the next?
Question is like, who is doing it exactly like her? Like,
not exactly like. I was about my joke I was gonna make is there are songs on the new Echo Astro album that don't not sound like this. Is what I'm saying. Like, this is alive and well in the universe, and we can make it happen again without St. Vincent. She does not own a copyright on Skronk.
Yeah, true. Like, at the very least, like the closest I've gotten in recent years is like the recent couple Armed records. Like, they very specifically been like, yeah, we kind of ripped from the St. Vincent guitar tones for this song.
That is very true and smart.
Like they have like very specifically said out loud, like, yeah, we love Annie's guitar tones. It's like,
and that's
the
Arm stuff I like the best, is the stuff that like almost leans on being more that than being like hardcore. Although I do really
then being like, oh yeah, we have the drummer who's like the son of the guy from Death, you know, who also works for like, you know, 20 fucking bands. He's played with Converge and everyone, like, fucking being like, yeah, we have blast beats, and you would rather have the skronk than the blast, as it were.
Matty, what do you think of Krokodil? You're pro.
I mean, I fucking love the song. This is one of my favorite St. Vincent songs. It's awesome.
Yeah, this one rules.
I mean, it's literally like, it's crazy because this song is, you know, over a decade old. It's now been over almost a decade of just begging Annie Clark, like, please make like just an album, an EP, something that sounds like this song again, like something that is like this like nasty ass like Steve Albini Big Black like sounding song, like just, and she tried to sort of lean into that on some of the stuff on All Born Screaming, but overall All Born Screaming is just like, again, never again will I ever get my hopes up about a St. Vincent record. Like, again, 3 times. You know, obviously Mass Seduction, not a very good record. I think it's pretty bad. All right, whatever. You know, every artist, you know, the run has to end at some point, right? It's got to end at some point. Okay, how about the next record? Oh my God, that's somehow even worse and more boring. Okay, let's see if she finally, you know, like, look, 2 bad records in a row. Some of the greatest artists in the world, it happens to them. Okay, sure. Let's see what happens in the third one. And it was promising. The lead single was Broken Man was a pretty good track. No Jack Antonoff on the production. This one also, you know, I think she was, you know, not self-releasing, but had switched over to sort of a like, hey, like I'm releasing through Virgin, but like it's my own thing. Like, okay, like more creative control. Okay, let's see how this works. And the record was just kind of boring and also featured like maybe one of the worst songs she's ever put out ever. The one about Sophie. Like, Jesus Christ.
I didn't even listen to the fucking thing. Like I
gave
Saint
it a courtesy
Vincent
listen.
was like,
I gave it one.
Saint Vincent was so important to me for like this brief moment of my life, and then I just like I didn't even bother with the new one. Like it just I was like so deeply upset by her continued like stepping on the rake, like Sideshow Bob-esque, like just fucking going out in the media and being like, fuck you.
I don't know what you're talking about. St. Vincent hasn't released any music in the last decade except for the Funky Town cover, bro. That's the only thing she's really. It's the only music she's
only reserved for Flying Lotus. Let's be very clear.
Yeah, it only really works for Fly Low.
Flying Lotus finally put out new music. It's on your iPhone right now. You can listen to it if you change your
Hang on, let me pull up that new Flying Lotus track. I don't remember which one it's called.
Actually, hold on. I think I remember. Let me find my ringtones really quick.
A lot of people have pointed out that he put like vinyl crackle on the ringtones, and it's like the ringtone isn't supposed to sound pleasant. Flying Lotus is supposed to wake you up.
I think this is one of them. Hang on, no, I might have gotten the wrong one. Was it like, I don't think it was Canopy. Was it like Chalet?
It was like
Daybreak is one of them. I don't know. That was just really I love that he's like, okay, I did this a while ago, but I now can reveal it was me the whole time.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. I got it. Do I? Wait, no, I don't got it. Where is it?
Here, I have the clip. The like
I've got the other one, which I think is because one I think one was Chalet, because that sounds a lot like Fly Low.
It's Daybreak and Chalet, but
yeah.
Again, I can't find it. I'm so glad we finally have Flying Lotus music after like a decade.
We are certainly going to talk about him soon. Again.
God,
actually,
we get to talk. I just realized we get to talk about the last recorded music that Flying Lotus released.
Rose, that is very. I do want to look it up because he did, of course, like to break from the bit for a second. He did just drop like a new track in the last 2 weeks, and I want to see how it did on Indie Heads because. Like in Indie Heads, so sometimes for the artists that have been around for a while, they'll give them some leniency for a while. I remember like seeing this on the subreddit, and I'm like, is like no one listening to this? Like, what's going on? Oh, hang on, for some reason.
I mean, I don't think like that's the problem. It's just like nobody cares about Flying Lotus anymore. We moved past the need for Flying Lotus.
I think the real thing. I think he's still totally capable of making good music. The thing that has fucked him is that he has done so many like weird one-off like Star Wars R2 Where Are You ass like brand collab songs that like when a new Flying Lotus album or song comes out, you have to ask questions like, is this a new album or is this a soundtrack to a Netflix show that he's made? And when you're in the business of asking those questions,
is it creepy or is it wet? Is it creepy or is it wet?
It makes it harder for people to be like, yes, there's a new whatever that we're excited about. But yeah, I don't know. I'm holding out some amount of hope that Flying Lotus could release something because Flamagra is not like an abysmal album. It's just an album like in search of an album, it's like
it doesn't exist. That's the problem.
He dumped the whole pod in, he just put like every draft into the album. I don't know what to tell you, Rose.
The problem is just like you listen to it and it's like eating air. You're just like you're sitting there, you're just like forking it down like and it's just like there's nothing in here. There's no calories, there's no nutrition. I'm not getting anything.
You know what? Flying Lotus, it's fitting because it's a common collaborator of his. When David Lynch like teases something and people are like, it's gonna be a new movie he's directing, it's like, no, you idiots, it's music. He's putting out music again.
Season 4, let's go, baby. It's finally back.
That's the reverse thing where it's like Flying Lotus is announcing he's putting out music. It's like, let's go, baby, he's back. It's like, it's not music, it's a TV show. It's the reverse. We want him to put out music, but it's secretly a TV show. Mediums, not even genres.
The other thing is just like we even when he was not putting out music, he just made his presence like so he made himself so omnipresent that we never had a moment without Flying Lotus. Like the Flying Lotus 3D set, I think was a staple of like every festival for a solid 6 years. It feels like every single time you like
it was
like,
pretty cool.
Yeah, no. Let's be very clear. I
it's
went to
coming
see
at
this.
me,
I
Rose.
went to see the
I saw
fucking
it
set for
too.
myself. And
I
it was
did
one of the
too.
only times I've ever walked out early from a show because I was just like so bored out of my fucking skull.
I thought it was neat. I was like, whoa, is it the hands coming at me?
They didn't even use the 3D all that well. That's why I was upset. It was just
I was having my own Lumiere Brothers-esque experience where I kept running out of the show because I thought I was gonna get eaten by a giant shark or whatever.
Oh
like,
yeah, no, that was me seeing the new 10 Tricks Point Never stage show earlier this year. Where I was
actually
just like,
seems fucking insane. Yeah.
Where like when they started pulling out puppets, I was just like, dog, we're going into new realms here.
Yeah, I think Flying Lotus is just like he went from being someone that felt like he was really at the vanguard of stuff to just being kind of a parody of himself.
Well, like he's just so comfortably in the industry, you know. He's just like he's got his dudes. Like everybody loves Thundercat. Everybody loves P.Wee, you know. Like, but like at the end of the day, are we going like clamoring for new things from them? Are we clamoring for them to do new things, or do we just want them to do the same shit again? And the answer is,
I mean, if he did the same shit again at the level of even like pattern plus grid world, I would do backflips. I don't need him to do something different at all. I just would like it to be good. That's a different thing. Like he can be comfortable being Flying Lotus if he just like honed his craft.
Well, yeah, that's the problem of all of them. It's just like, you know, we want them all to just do the same shit again, but it's diminishing returns.
Yeah, you're right. If he was trying to make Cosmogramma 2, I would say that this is underwhelming. Like he can't really win, but like
it's
making a collab album with Smoke DZA is not winning. Regardless.
Well, to round, we should move on because we're going on a whole other tangent. To round things back to St. Vincent, even though I did not really like her last records, I am kind of excited to see her because she's playing at Hopscotch Fest this year, and I hear she still puts on a good live show. At the very least, I want to hear the classic cuts again. It's been a while since I've seen her. You know,
been a while.
So at the very least,
brother,
should be a
if
good
you do
set.
not get out to that fucking MJ Linderman, Carly Hartman.
I'm gonna be that one. I got that one. I'm going
like
to
the lineup
sure.
on that was so
Crazy.
sick nasty that I was like actively jealous that I was not in the Carolinas again. I'm so mad. They're playing 2 shows this weekend and I'm not there. My ass is not in North Carolina seeing Wednesday right this moment.
Yeah.
What am I doing with myself?
Matty, hopefully it's a good show, but I'm afraid that you've already fucked up because you didn't get to see St. Vincent's 9/11 Pitchfork Festival performance, which of course Michael Brooks has reminded us many times about, of St. Vincent performing on 9/11 at Pitchfork Festival and making weird like stage banter about 9/11.
Oh, that's right. Because I didn't go I had just moved to LA in 2021, so I did not go to that Pitchfork because I didn't have enough money. Like I just couldn't justify going after just moving. Oh God, because I think Max and AJ were also at that festival where they met Faye Webster's dad, John Webster.
Oh my God!
Here's a tweet from Michael Brooks, waking up like Guy Pearce's character in Memento with the phrase "St. Vincent, Daddy's home, 9/11 mysteriously tattooed on my chest."
Oh God! All right,
my God.
Let's move on. Let's get to our final 2 songs of the evening. Up next, Bathroom. Actually, I was gonna say, who cares at this point? Who cares what Pitchfork thought of this track? I don't care. This song is great. It's my best Mestu track of this. Actually, okay, it's a tie. Anyways, next song, Bathroom Laughter, Piss Jeans.
Let's fucking go, dude. Let's fucking go. I'm so happy to hear the love for Piss Jeans, one of the great Philadelphia hardcore bands. Just like their work over the last decade has been just decade plus really of just like writing songs about how stupid the modern male psyche is. It's just They've pummeled it in album after album, and every time it makes me laugh, and the riffs go hard, and I go, "Great job, boys! You did it again!" Like their last album, "Why Love Now," really good. Their new album, "Half Divorced," really good. It's got a song on it called "Anti-Sapio," which is all about how much the lead singer hates sapiosexuals.
I will say
it's. Oh.
I was gonna say I'm not a huge Piss Jeans fan. Like, of course, this is a band that finally came back this year, probably their first record in like 7 years.
Yeah, last one was like 2016, I believe.
2017, yeah, because I went to double. It was early. It was early 2017 though, so I get the 2016 part of it. But this track though, like even though someone is not the biggest fan of their whole deal, like I feel like I get my noise rock kicks elsewhere. This track fucking rocks, and especially like this 3-run track run we have here between Saint Vincent, this song, and then Borrowed Time, Parquet Courts. Spoiler alert. Is like, man, this is fucking this is heat. This is
yeah.
Heat.
The guitars are going off. You love a good guitar.
Yeah. Speaking of strong.
Yeah, this is strongy. This is strongy as all fuck.
Yeah, fucking. I love Piss Jeans so much, and this is just like flat out one of their best songs. Like, it's a good time, and I love dudes writing about dudes. It's always a fun time.
I also really love the ooze in here. Some great ooze that you get. And uhs.
Yeah. Matt Corvette, real good vocalist. He knows how to make it just nasty enough.
Let's see what Ian Cohen had to say about this track. When it comes to Central Pennsylvanians documenting the absurdities of cubicle culture, Jim Halpert ain't got shit on Allentown insurance claims adjuster, rock scribe / Piss Jeans, front screamer Matt Corvette. God, getting a Jim from Office comparison. What a 2012 thing this is.
Jim Office, I love
Jim,
that dude.
Jim,
if in theaters now, by the way, we need to save this movie.
The listener cannot see this, but I am staring into my camera right now and making a face like get a load of this nonsense right now. This is good. I like this. Famously, I once asked the question, hardcore kids be like, and my answer was, I suppose that is what they be like. And I now know slightly more about hardcore kids, but really not much. I like this though. This is pretty good. Is this like, would thrash be the descriptor for this sort of hardcore? Like vaguely, or like
not really. Like it's more just a noise rock zone. Like this is like some real post Jesus Lizard shit in a way that
that makes sense.
So many of the bands.
I was just gonna say it did remind me a little bit of some stuff more in the metal space, like Oozing Wound or whatever, But this is more on the like punk noise rock side of that spectrum. I just thought of that because I just think of this kind of riff style as being the like ones that a Brutal Legend character would be headbanging to and like doing the rock devil horns, Like it's got that very, very chugga 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 thing going on to it.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think it would, like, it does sound in that lane, but it has too much contempt for that genre. Like I listen to this, and it's like this has a lot of contempt for those kind of guys. So and it's a little too in this lane of it's a very tough tightrope to walk of the ironically playing a really bad guy. Like there's some that have done it really successfully over the years. Like I like this is sort of like noise rock Alex Cameron, right? Of like purposely playing kind of a scummy, like toxic masculinity kind of character.
Mean, it's
but
just everybody's like it's a thing I was talking about in fucking the pod chat a few days ago, but like everybody's like on it now, but like the post Donald Fagen kind of the Fagen-assance that we are having right now of like guys doing character portraits of like weird pathetic men. It's very refreshing to see people like leaning back into that writing style because I think it always yields like very good stuff, and Piss Jeans are like creme de la creme of that in particular. Like they know how to like invent a guy to get mad at.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I
am
do
not.
think it's the whole Gen Z taking things too literally, and I think things have finally like swung back around, being like, let's just like these kids' brains are cooked no matter what. COVID fully cooked these kids' brains forever. Fuck them. Let's just do it, you know. And obviously that Jordy Griep track that just came out, very fucking good. As someone who's not a fan of that last Black Midi record, I really do like this new track.
You know that like meme image. It's like take a picture of your pussy from the back, from the side. Now you know.
Oh,
like,
yeah, no,
that's
yeah.
what the lyrics of the second half of that song are.
Oh my god, there was a Jeremy Fragrance thing that got posted today in Pod Chat. Let me see if I can find it really
Oh,
quick.
yeah.
That is Jeremy Fragrance, the iconic Jeremy Fragrance. Let me see. Oh yeah, Jeremy Fragrance.
Man who is living in a Gaspar Noé movie all the time.
Yeah, and can I
Jeremy
ask
Fragrance.
if I could lift you with my strong arms while you don't wear clothes, and then kiss you and lift you while you don't wear clothes, up and down on me? Is that an okay idea for you, Lindsay? God, Jeremy Fragrance. What a character. Jesus Christ, he's such a fascinating man to look at.
But yeah, speaking to that sort of attitude, they have a new album out this year, and the album is wonderfully titled Half Divorced, and the first song on it is called Killing All the Wrong People. So, yeah,
it's a song about how they're doing the killing. It's right. They're just killing all the wrong people, you know? Like that's
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem with our government. They're not killing the right people.
Yeah. Oh god.
I also just respect their commitment to, obviously, denim. They have an album called King of Jeans. They're called Piss Jeans. Great. We love it.
You gotta respect it. They love the brands.
Yeah, I will say I think Piss Jeans is the most appropriately named band of all time. Like I think in terms of the genre match to the way the name of the band makes me feel, it's about as perfect as you can get, because it's just like, oh, I wonder what a band called Piss Jeans sounds like. Oh, they sound exactly what I imagine they would sound like. Okay, cool. And like that's nice.
I think
it's
them
nice
and
to have
Fucked
that.
Up are twinned in my brain for that exact reason. Like Fucked Up and Piss Jeans were like the sort of specific fill-in joke of like if you were trying to talk about a person who likes punk in 2011 and you'd be like Fucked Up and Piss Jeans or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like this is the very like critic-friendly side of like hardcore and punk rock adjacent stuff. Like I do hear a lot of similar things in like Damian Abraham versus Matt Corvette's voices, where Damian Abraham is going for like more of a surly kind of bark versus like Matt Corvette is going for like just a death howl. Like it's good shit. I do
Hot
love
Snakes
this
vibes to it. Speaking of like very critically acclaimed, post-hardcore stuff, it's definitely in that like Drive Like Yahoo school of just like
fucking
nasty
Rick Froberg, fucking another dude that like just has this particular type of voice that I go absolutely cuckoo bananas for.
While I'm on this topic, I should bring up that we can call her friend of the podcast, Nicole Rifkin, illustrator, has a really great tweet about how her dad
she's a real one. She's a real one.
Oh, yeah,
she's a Patreon supporter.
But Nicole's dad apparently has a bit where he refers to fucked up as foofed up.
Oh god, did you see the tweet that she posted not that long ago of like, oh yeah, my dad refers to Charlie XCX as Sophie's friend, and then someone quote tweeted that with the clip from Degrassi being like, your dad's gay. And it's like, that's accurate.
I think I did see that. Shout out to Nicole. Real one.
But let's go ahead and end this. Let's finish this out. This was going through, because we this playlist was put together like literally 2 years ago, and then I was just going through like, okay, what did we cut from 2012? Like I feel like we maybe missed something, and then I saw this and I was like, why was this not on any of the playlists to begin with? Parquet Courts, Borrow Time. This song is a fucking heater. I think this band fell off at some point, but like I still think this record and like I think their run from like Light Up Gold until even the 2018 record has some pretty great stuff. Like
I've shifted on the polarity from Parquet Hater to Appreciator to middle. I'm back in the middle now. I feel I'm at the reasonable place about them, and I will say this record. It's mostly just kind of boring, but like the two songs on this one and fucking
Master of My Craft.
No. Hang on, pull up the track list again.
Stone and Starving. Is that what you're?
No. There's another one. There's like a third one. Click on the album.
Well, I'm on the album right now, Rose. There's Master.
Well, your screen sharing is like shit. I'll tell you right now. I can't read shit.
Sorry.
I'll just pull up the track list myself. Hang on.
Yeah. Because it's like the three big songs on this record are Master of My Craft, Borrow Time, and Stone and Starving. And those are all three great songs.
And Dakota, maybe?
Dakota's also a big one. I see. That's got 3 million streams.
Yeah, Light Up Gold specifically, the title track. That's the one I think of a lot. Like, Light Up Gold is the other big...
So fascinating to me because in a very space rock way they teeter so close to being my business, right? Like they're just there, but then you open up the fans also like, and I see Ty Segall and the OCs and I'm like, yes, right, why I don't like this band. Correct. Yeah, no, this is I believe this was the origin of Miranda Ryan talking about the term boyfriend music, but this is boyfriend music, capital B, capital M. Like,
yeah, not wrong.
It's fine. It's not bad. Is there anything about this that's like I like this, like some of the songs on Wide Awake I think are a little more fun with this because it's like if you're just gonna do this, like if this is the whole thing, at least add a cowbell in there, at least get a little more goofy about than this. Like this is like reserved in a way that is kind of muting the only part of it that should be fun, which is just that this is some like groovy. Like, I saw Omni at South by this year, and, like, Omni is, like, a pretty solid band, but, like, at a certain point, just little, like, groovy, dance-punky riffs can just get a little, like, all right, what's next, you know? And I felt very what's next about this whole song.
I mean, I disagree. Again, here's the thing. I'm outnumbered on this episode considering that I am the only boy that is on this episode. So this music appeals very greatly to me. I do think there's better records than this one on the Parquet Courts Discovery. Like I'm a huge, like I think the record from 2016, why am I forgetting the name of it? Human Performance, great record. Like this era of post-punk is one that I do have a really strong soft spot for. Even though it's kind of become, it's more out of favor these days. And I think post-punk, like the obviously post-punk is still it's still a genre, it's still a thing, people still listen to it. I do think a lot of it has kind of moved over to like more the shoegaze, noise rock kind of thing. Like that's kind of more in vogue. But man, there's some fucking heaters from this era. But they're not my favorite. Like I in terms of like the best post-punk from this era, like it's pretty clearly Ought. I think like Otter, incredible band, incredible discography. But like Light Up Gold, full fucking heaters. Sung by the Animal, good record.
Whenever
great record.
I totally get what you're saying, but whenever I think of this band or listen to one of these songs, it's like I'm being reminded of 6 other bands that I would rather be listening to for different reasons. Like I could either be listening to Squid or The Rapture, or like there are 7 different like post-punk bands I could name that would give me like the full experience of what I'm getting little drafts of on this song, you know?
Yeah.
And I exclusively think about better music I could be listening to when I listen to Parquet Courts. Is basically my take on them.
Fair enough. But yeah, I think that let's
like that song Wide Awake though.
That's a great song.
I think that is a tune.
It's fine, but like I would like to get the earworm out of my head because it's been there since it came out and it's kind of getting on my nerves.
Oh god,
it's a song about a Titan boy.
Way.
Okay.
Like just it's fucking. Oh my god.
Oh, actually, since we're mentioning that song and that record, I have some Indie Heads podcast lore that is related to Parquet Courts. My first ever interactions with Max is when he signed up to review I think we were already. I think me and Rose we were already in the group chat with Max
Oh,
at this
that's
point.
right.
He
Oh,
wrote the Indie Heads album of the year piece for Parquet Court's Wide Awake, which like that is
if you
so
know
unlike
Max.
that's so unlike Max now. Like Max being a Parquet fans or Parquet Courts fan at any time just seems so unlike him. Like it is
I
totally
do think
absurd.
it is totally absurd, but it's also like Parquet Courts not having riffs and that being the one band Max attached onto are related in my brain, you know? Like
They have riffs.
eh, they kind of do, but not like riffs like the way that Max is allergic to, you know?
Yeah.
They have jangles.
Yeah, I guess I don't know because these days, most of the stuff he's listening to is like more in like the Big Thief. Who is the singer songwriter, the mysterious one that he's really into? I don't. I want to
Oh, I
say
don't.
it's
The
something.
slightly less big thief.
No, not. It's not. It's like a singer songwriter that like disappeared in the 1970s. That has
Oh
like
yeah, like Clarissa Connolly or whatever.
Converse. Come on,
Connie
guys, get
Converse.
it together.
Thank you,
Jesus
Rose.
Christ.
I can't remember all these names. Okay, there's so many names, and right now my brain is full of names that we're going to be discussing in Best New Pod Season 2. We have so much shit going on in Season 2.
Folks,
Just
you don't even know what we're about to get into. What guys
just
we're about to remember gender neutral.
Let me look at the playlist for the first week. I just want to remember.
This is just the first playlist. So of course, I will say so next week it'll be a bonus episode of My Should Have Beens. It'll be exclusive to all of our Real One supporters on Patreon. So if you want to support us for
Oh
Patreon
my god,
for $5 a month or more, you can listen to the songs that I think should have been best new track. But just in this first episode, 2013 Part 1, Say That Tori Moi, Suit and Tie Justin Timberlake, Unknown Mortal Orchestra, So Good at Being in Trouble, Full of Fire, The Knife, My Bloody Valentine, Only Tomorrow, Recover, Churches, Retrograde, James Blake, Kurt Vile, Walking on a Pretty Day, Rusty Slasher, 5 a.m. in Toronto, Drake, Waves, Demon to Lean On, Let It Go, DJ Rashad. This is stacked to the fucking high
This is
heavens.
episode 1, right?
This is episode 1.
We haven't even introduced you to the sound of the summer yet. That's episode 2. We don't even get into that on episode 1.
Crazy. I mean, we were all going nuts. But when we were curating the playlist for these episodes, folks, we were all like just going nuts, just being like, wait, like this song and this, like what? Like this is crazy.
There was a great social media clip of just players on the Buffalo Bills just being asked to name basketball players. Just keep naming basketball players until you can't stop. And that was what we were doing, going through these songs.
Naming
we're just like,
guy.
oh my god, this musician that we all listen to, it really is like so much of my personality was formed in 2013.
Mm-hmm. And again, it's going to be a great series. We have a lot of great guests coming on. Some are returning, some for the first time ever on the Indie Heads podcast sphere. Very excited to have some of these people on. And I will not say which episode.
Can I spoil one of them now?
Go ahead, spoil one of them.
Oh, okay, listen, you guys. Bill Maher, he's gonna be great. Okay, let's just get that out.
Oh my god! I actually I will spoil one of our guests. There is someone that is in one of our playlists, one of the artists that is in one of our playlists that will be making an appearance on that episode. I cannot reveal. I feel like if you listen to this podcast enough, you can maybe infer who that is. But if again, we will have an actual artist that was
folks.
Fucking there.
Ariel Pink will be here live on the podcast.
Oh god,
you guys are not gonna believe it. It's just
Wait, did you say Ariel Pink?
We got Sia. We got Sia. I know she was only awarded once,
Maddie,
but
I said it like the Childish Gambino lyrics.
Oh my god. But again, it's going to be a great series. Very excited. Again, and that's going to take us all the way until December. We have again, a lot of great episodes planned. Again, it's going to be a great series. Very, very excited to be back in the booth with Rose and Jackie here. Because I have been listening to a lot of these playlists throughout the last month and a half, 2 months since we kind of locked everything in. It's going to be a great series. Very excited to get it going. But before we get to season 2 proper, we got to figure out what songs that I think should have been best new track. So we have that coming up next week for those that support us on Patreon for $5 a month or more. So yeah, again, patreon.com is gonna be your best place to get these episodes early, because you're gonna get the episodes 40 hours early. If you just support us for $1 a month, you get 48 hour, the episodes 48 hours early. You get the Discord, you get the sticker, you get the shout out at the top of the episode. It's a great deal. So support independent media, okay? Because I hope to God that we do not get a cease and desist again from Pitchfork like we did during season 1, because we technically got a cease and desist from their lawyer.
Support
it never really went anywhere, but
media.
it did happen.
Hey, listen. Now, we're fine now. I'll just DM Mono. I'll be like, hey, listen. So we got the situation. It's all good. We're big insiders now. We're big insiders. What can we say?
As the person least industry connected here, I think I have the most right. I will take the pain. You guys, if any jail time comes up, I'm taking the pain on this one. I got nothing better to do.
Well, there we go. Well, thank you all for listening to this episode. We will see you all next week if you're supporting us on Patreon. Otherwise, 2 weeks, season 1 premiere, or not season 1, season 2 premiere of Best New Pod as we look through the years of 2013 until 2015. So see y'all next week or in 2 weeks if you're a cheapskate. Bye-bye.
Yeehaw!